It's been 3 weeks since the claim forms have been delivered to MIBFA's offices in Anderson Street, Johannesburg. If you're not too sure what I'm referring to, please go back to the last 2 episodes where I go through the journey to where we are now in Taming the Unclaimed Retirement Fund Benefits. So in this episode, I will be dealing with a number of matters, and if you have a look down below, I've actually jotted them down for you. So once you finish this session, you can go back and click on a link and go directly to the topic. It's taken 3 weeks for me to actually prompt the administrator to tell me where are they in the process. I did get a response yesterday to say the actuaries are calculating the benefits. This morning my husband gets a call from the actual retirement fund administrator asking him a number of questions, which is a good thing. So they're trying to obviously identify him and whether he worked at the companies that he's linked to and all of that. So I think that is a good thing, to make sure that this person claiming the benefit after so many years is the person that he says he is. Although my husband was a little bit frustrated because he did say, these are my contributions, why haven't you contacted me? So but in any event, my question to MIBFA is, how are they calculating the benefit for my husband? So being a defined benefit fund back then, it'll be defined in terms of the rules of the fund, and a defined benefit is calculated based on fund salary, the factor within the fund rules, as well as years of service. So my question, and I put this down on email to the administrator, as to what fund salary are you using for my husband? He's worked there 20 years ago, and the last employer that he actually worked for might have paid him for 2 weeks, because they shut their doors. So, and I would think that they're using an average fund salary over a period of time and not just the last month's salary. But I want to know, what exactly how are you calculating this benefit? Because at one stage the benefit was so much, and then they picked up another employer. I don't know whether it was the date of birth or whatever. They picked up another employer, and all of a sudden the benefit dropped because of the fund salary. So, and that was just 2 months. So I've got a few questions there with regards to that. The administrator said that once the actuary has calculated the benefit, they will let me know exactly how they calculated it. Okay, so 3 weeks after receiving the documentation, I had to find out from them as to what is happening. And all I can suggest for trustees and administrators of retirement funds is perhaps just manage a member's expectations, especially on unclaimed retirement fund benefits. I understand currently, you've got a process in place, and you can say it's 6 weeks after the last contribution, and you've got a process, and you can manage the expectations accordingly. But with unclaimed benefits, you're sort of left in the dark. It's, help these members to understand the process that they can expect. So claim forms are received, allow them to put everything together for a week or so, and then they will calculate the benefit if that's the case. So manage the expectations, and if you can, send those automatic messages, whether it is via email or SMS, everybody's got a cell phone, to the member to let them know exactly where you are in the process, as opposed to the members having to feel frustrated and having to phone the call center, and hopefully there's up-to-date notes on there, or if they can actually phone the administrator directly, they would essentially be taking that administrator out of functioning, or processing other claims and having to answer the phones of members who are frustrated and querying their benefits and shouting down their throats. So just a tip for trustees to consider, given that they do have the management function essentially, and they can tell the administrators, put a process in place, put a document in place, very much like a conveyancer of a transfer of property. You've got to buy the seller. What is the expectations? What can the buyer and the seller expect? So we've applied for a bond. There's a bond granted. We have the OTP We've got the COC, whatever it is. So, you know, and I've seen that coming through, you know, in their processes, and it just makes you feel, wow, communication. That's all that matters. Communicate. If there's a delay in something, communicate, because that'll just put people's mind a little bit more at ease. Okay. So, we spoke about the 42 billion of unclaimed retirement fund money in South Africa. My concern is more about the number of members with unclaimed retirement fund benefits, because the 42 billion is essentially a moving target. It's been 42 billion for the last decade. But how many members have actually been paid out the benefits? So this is a big concern for the industry as to what has actually been done. Who is accountable? What are you guys doing, you know, with these unclaimed benefits? It's all fair and well that there's lots of talks and things happening, but where's the action? Okay, action speaks louder than words. So, as a professional in the industry, I am quite concerned that the number of benefits are not being, the numbers are not being affected. You keep on talking about the 42 billion of unclaimed retirement fund money. You know, that is a moving target. You know, it should actually be going up or down, or, you know, it's a fluctuation really, depending on what the markets are doing, whether you're paying out the benefits. But essentially, I want to see that number, which is 4.2 million members with 42 billion unclaimed retirement fund benefits. I want to see the 4.2 million members reducing every single year. Okay, so holding those people accountable. Okay, whether it's the trustees, whether it's the employers, whether it's the administrators, the FSCA, what are you guys doing with these unclaimed benefits? The one is a supervisory body that holds everybody else accountable. But what are these administrators, the trustees, actually doing? Is it really in their best interest to be focusing on members who no longer form part of their fund? Okay. So there is the COFI Bill. I know the laws were, they wanted to put this national fund in place in 2006, where all unclaimed retirement fund benefits were to be transferred into this one big pot of money, or this one big pot, put it that way, and the industry pushed back. So the COFI Bill is a bill that's in the process of being passed, and in that bill it mentions that one pot of money again. My view, I don't like it. Okay, all the retirement fund benefits into one pot from wherever you are, managed by who? You know, by obviously National Treasury, the government. They're going to get somebody to administer it. And, you know, what is going to happen there? The accountability and all sorts of things. So there's great concerns from my side with regards to this one pot of money. My view, keep it with the funds, hold the trustees accountable, hold the administrators accountable for all of this. And it's their burden to bear until they actually find those members. So, yeah, I'm not too in favor of the one pool of unclaimed benefits. I just find that there will be a disconnect between the employer, the fund, and the unclaimed benefits. So, yeah, let's just move on to the definition of an unclaimed benefit. So there was a reason why there was a definition of an unclaimed benefit in pension fund law. So let me just explain what an unclaimed benefit was. It was a benefit that was defined as unclaimed after 24 months of exit. So when a member left his employer and hence his retirement fund, and there's obviously no further contributions coming or being paid to the retirement fund because he's not employed by his employer anymore, that benefit in the fund, if he has not claimed his benefit within the 24 months from his date of exit, that benefit would be defined as unclaimed. So what that would allow trustees to do is say, we can actually ring fence these benefits and transfer it out of our fund. So it was very easy for a fund to transfer it out and say, well, we don't have to report on these unclaimed benefits anymore. And this was happening quite a bit, and administrators actually started opening up their own retirement fund preservation, unclaimed retirement fund benefits, pension provident fund, because it helped them as well, because as opposed to transferring it outside somewhere, they were transferring it from their participating employer or, you know, one of the funds accounts, standalone funds, into their own unclaimed retirement benefit fund, and they got the administration fees for administering this, although there was a separate set of trustees on the unclaimed retirement fund benefit who should be tracing the members. You know, that was more a tick box approach. I'm not saying that they weren't doing it. It was just my view is that there was a disconnect between the two. So, you know, already I've had comments from like a fund secretary from a certain fund who says that the integrity of the data was compromised when the transfer happened from the employer's fund or the umbrella fund to the unclaimed retirement fund. So yeah, already we've seen those things. My personal view, keep it in the fund. Trustees need to deal with it and take it from there. And you have to continuously report on it. Okay, so yeah, I just find that there will be a disconnect, and all of that will be lost. Eventually, we'll actually be left with, you know, deceased members who don't even know about their benefit. So it'll be benefits, unclaimed benefits of a big pool of deceased members. Think about it, 30, 40, 50 years time, you know, benefits of deceased members. You know, I'm sure government would love to get their hands on that. Okay, so especially with that big one pool of unclaimed retirement fund benefits, they can pass a law and say, well, look, you know, let's fund state-owned enterprises with this money because we can't find the members. So what else must we do? But remember, at the end of the day, there are families out there whose husbands, wives, fathers, whatever, did not receive their retirement fund benefits. 42 billion. Okay, and I'm talking about 4.2 million people who have not received these benefits. Okay, I just feel that there needs to be more accountability on the part of trustees, on the part of employers. Remember, the employer was the last connected party to that employee, to that member. So my view is, if you can get the employer, they're still in existence, you can try and get them accountable. But essentially, it's more a social responsibility thing that they would be doing, because they're not going to get paid for it, for trying to find the benefits, you know, or the members, and match them with their benefits. Okay. So just something else that happened in the industry over a decade ago, when unclaimed retirement fund benefits came about, the definition of unclaimed retirement fund benefits came about. SARS picked up on this and they thought, but we're not getting our money. These benefits are sitting in your funds. And I was working at an administrator, and at that point in time, it was, you know, SARS gave an instruction to levy a blanket tax of 40% on all retirement fund benefits that were unclaimed. So all retirement fund benefits over the 24 months, blanket tax directive, 40% paid across to SARS, and they got their money. So this was probably around 2006, 2007. So when you do claim your benefit, you need to ask that question: has my benefit previously been taxed? So you haven't had the benefit of tax-free amounts, or if you were retiring from the fund and you possibly had the 500,000 tax-free, you know, they levied a blanket 40% tax on your benefit. So if your benefit was 100,000, I'm just giving you a figure, they'd levy a 40,000 rand tax, and you would be paid, or your benefit of 60,000 would be growing, you know, for the next decade or so. So hopefully that 60,000 is a lot bigger, you know, with compounding and all of that. Okay. So the next thing that I actually want to chat to you about is migrant laborers. Okay. And I've heard this quite a bit in articles and media releases and so on. Even administrators are saying that the challenges that they are actually facing is that these benefits belong to, a lot of them belong to migrant laborers. So just to put that in the context, in South African context, it's not necessarily members who've actually crossed the borders into Mozambique, although there could be, or to Zim, or wherever it is. It's also workers who came up from rural areas to work in Johannesburg, and then when they were ready, they left their companies and they went back to the homelands, not claiming their benefits. So this is the context that the industry is actually looking in, as a migrant laborer. My husband is not a migrant laborer. My husband is, yes, he's in the engineering field, but he's not a migrant laborer. And he has had one cell phone number since cell phones came out. So this is the point I'm trying to make in terms of what are funds doing. MIBFA, you are sitting with 18.8 billion of the 42 billion of unclaimed retirement fund monies. Okay, what have you done in order to locate my husband? After 20 years, he had to find out through, fortunately, his wife, who's in the industry, to know that he's got a benefit. And then he started telling me the story. He said, but the company's closed. I thought my benefit went with them, not understanding. Okay, so it's not necessarily only the blue-collar workers or the uninformed people that do not know about these benefits. It's the everybody. It's not just migrant laborers. It's everybody. And the more we can actually spread the word that you could possibly have an unclaimed retirement fund benefit sitting there, the better. I've also picked up benefits for people who worked at hotels, Protea Hotel, etc. So it could be surplus apportionment, little bits and pieces. So not necessarily just a benefit of you leaving an employer. It could be a benefit within a beneficiary fund as well. So where there was a deceased members and a benefit was transferred in, for the benefits of minor children, and so on. There's different reasons as to why there's these unclaimed retirement fund benefits, but definitely not just for migrant laborers. Although there is the mine workers and there is the engineering industry and the metal industries, which are the two top retirement funds that have got the biggest unclaimed retirement fund benefits in South Africa. So just something else, be aware of scamsters. So not too sure why or what, but just 2 days ago, my husband receives an email and he receives an SMS. So, and the email basically, and you can just see that it is a scamster. Where they got my husband's email address from and where they got his cell phone number from, we don't know, but all of a sudden, this is, he's getting these messages. Good morning to you. Do you want to know more about the claims? The claims? So very, I don't even think he really knows what's going on. So this is what he says. And then on an SMS, he also talks about unclaimed funds. Contact me, send me your details. So obviously a scamster who wants your banking details, who wants your ID, and so on. So this came from an Andrew G. Haldane. So that is a fictitious name. The cell phone number from where the SMS came from comes from a Dele, D-E-L-E, Adekoya. So the next step is to obviously Google like this name, whether it is correct or not. And when you Google the name, there's a lot of Dele Adekoyas. So it is a Nigerian name, but so obviously it is, a scam, just because of the email that we received and just there was no, I don't want to get into it. So just be aware of scamsters. So always do your proper homework with regards to this, who you're talking to, take down their details. Don't just give your information to anybody. If in doubt, contact FSCA, the Financial Services Board, on www.fsca.co.za, to find out things. And yeah, I think I think that's it for this series, or this episode essentially. In the next episode, what I would like to do is break down the unclaimed retirement fund benefits. So we've got 42 billion of unclaimed retirement fund monies in South Africa, 4.2 million members, and who are the administrators? How's it broken down? Standalone funds, occupational funds, is it beneficiary funds, etc. So just to sort of give you an idea as to, the breakdown of that. And then in future sessions, I would like to go through the taxation of unclaimed retirement fund benefits, and then also if a member had to die. So we're dealing with an unclaimed retirement fund benefit of a deceased member. And chances are it hasn't even been included in his estate late. Well, it wouldn't have been. It would have had to be distributed outside of, if he was employed, it would have been distributed in terms of Section 37C of the Pension Funds Act. But the fact that he had exited and not claimed, it should have actually been transferred into his estate and distributed in terms of his will if he had one. So I know I'm getting quite technical there, but I'd like to get into all of that, because essentially we don't want these benefits to actually land up, as benefits of a big benefit for dead people. As I mentioned, these benefits are for families who are destitute right now. Some of them, a lot of them. So we need to try and get these benefits, these members connected with these benefits. And I'd like to, as I mentioned, I'd like to see a lot more accountability coming through with the players in the industry. And it starts with the trustees of the fund, starts with the employers, the administrators, as well as what more can the Financial Sector Conduct Authority do for members. So yeah, stay tuned for the next episode. Subscribe to further episodes. Thank you for joining me on this journey. If there's anything that you would like me to cover, or if you want to share your journey, perhaps we can share it together on this forum. This is the start, but it's not the ending. There's a lot to go through, and just start. Okay, thank you.